All right, so speaking of things that are old and rusted,
Yes. Yes.
Rust just had an issue, or not issue, but Rust just did a
They
massive update.
Well, they update every month. But every month you get a new thing that it can do. Rust also has an app, just like WoW Retail has an app, and all these other things have an app. So the Rust Plus app for your phone allows you to do stuff now with this new update. That is a if this then that like support, which means kind of like a website where if you're no coding, if you put in hooks like if this happens, if this is called, then serve this thing. So as the software, it can work with any other software that is supports that function.
Right.
So if a trigger happens, this is the result. If this trigger happens, this is the result. Well, now that that's built into the Rust app, you can have it set to trigger real world things if something happens in game, and your Rust app can detect it. So one of the things that I'd read was you can actually hook it up to your home alarm system. So if your base gets attacked, your home alarm system will go off.
Could you imagine being dead asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Or like the police showing up, like not figuring out, like, okay, well, I just need like the charms to the chimes to go off, not actually trigger the full alarm. So like every time your base gets raided in Rust, police show up at your door and let you know that like,
hey, your base is being raided.
Right?
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, my base is being raided in Rust. What? I'm sorry. Can you give us the code? Yeah, the code is my base is being raided in Rust. Would you like us to deploy the police? I mean, if you can go to his house, that'd be great. Or their house.
Right? No, but so yeah, but it also works. But that opens up like the door for a whole bunch of stuff. So like, if you have an audio device, say that can do recorded things, or like you set up every time your base gets raided, you can actually hear danger, Will Robinson, danger, or whatever, or smart lights flashing on and off to give you a signal, like get on the computer, your house, you're
so like for people who have like Google Home or Alexa or anything like that.
Yeah, like you can literally
cool.
like tie that into your real
I have
world
none of those
smart
things because
devices.
I'm paranoid, but yeah.
I have, because they keep being given to me, but they're in like a room by themselves. And if I watch like way too much like the Android stuff or the AI stuff where they start talking to each other, I'm start worrying like Alexa's gonna start talking to the Google Echo or the Google Nest, because it's an Echo
Right.
Dot and a Nest, and like they start talking back and forth to each other. I actually triggered that once.
I'm picturing Alexa be like, Google is a dirty hooker. Google's like, Alexa likes to eat bugs.
But but I actually caught them like where I'd said something and the Nest picked it up, and it started to do something, and that triggered the Alexa, and that started talking, which triggered the Nest. So it like got into a weird back and forth talking about stuff. And then, like, apparently the Google got its feelings hurt and said, "That's not nice," and shut off. By the way, that's a real thing. Have you ever, like, your phone just randomly kicked up for like a Google, like your Google Assistant or whatever, being like, I couldn't hear, like, would you repeat that again or whatever that it says?
I turned mine off.
Well, I tried, but it still pops up and whatever. So I randomly like, shut up! I don't want to talk to you. Like it's kind of rude. It literally was like, well, you don't have to use that kind of language. Like, you're my phone. Shut up.
Yeah, you're my phone. Don't lecture me.
Right.
I own you.
It's like straight up. I just want to you're getting creepy. I'm going to chuck you out the window and file for an insurance report.
I want a divorce.
Well, I don't. That's weird.
just
Now that I
reminds me,
said
it's
that you tied that together with I'm going to chuck you out the window and file an insurance report. I want a divorce. Like, well, that's not how you get a divorce. Just chuck them out the window and file for insurance.
that would be why the police were at my house. Just makes more sense. My base got attacked in Rust. I thought it was just a coincidence. To tie it all back together.
Right. But no, so I mean, it's a really interesting thing
Mechanic.
to actually be able to tie your game into your real world.
I agree.
I'm not quite sure.
I don't know how much I like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting AR. Like,
I'm a fan of games that when I turn off the game is off.
Right.
That's what it is. I like.
Well,
my
like
idle
like
games.
Valheim, when you're off the server, everything stops.
Unless you're on a worldwide server, but yes. Unless you're on a live server.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the heck it's called now. Anyways, I'm not on a live server, so yeah, when I log out, my action stops. You can't raid my base, you can't break my stuff. And that's because I like to build things, and I really don't want people in there tinkering and when I'm not around.
Right. I mean, I was on, like, I had a perpetual server once. Like, I was just playing around, and I got on it. And I got to the point where I just put, like, those little totems, like, everywhere around my perimeter. That way they couldn't enter my base. They couldn't touch my base. They couldn't open my chests. They couldn't do whatever.
You know that you can bury stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's actually just the easiest way to do it.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be like my grandfather. You're like, oh, I have a trunk
Right.
full of gold. I'll just bury this in the backyard.
Never tell anybody.
Right?
Like, oh yeah, by the way, I buried the trunk in the black.
The entire family's out there with the ring,
Metal detectors,
ring,
yep.
ring. But no, so I mean, I guess like in that sense, like I have not played Rust. Rust is actually, once we hit Valheim and I fell in love with like the building mechanic, which is what fell in love with the Fallout stuff, where like just being able to build houses and like my own. Quite literally, it looked like an old gas station with the vending machines out front and like
Right.
the overhang, and I did all that stuff for 76. And got the bug where I stopped playing the game and just farmed for materials to build. And that was like my whole existence. And now, like with Valheim, like that is my whole existence. Is
Right.
like just building. Oh, I can build Stormwind if I wanted to, which I'm trying. It's just really, really hard because that thing's huge. But when I saw Rust, I was like, ooh.
It looks
I can
really
build
fun.
But then there's other people who can come around and kill you and take your stuff.
And I hate griefers.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest hang up on it. It's like I'm not worried about that. It's just I don't play these games enough to be I'm the best player ever, derp derp, and then go around and grief players all the time. So I hated playing on a public server on 76.
Right.
It was just obnoxious.
Right,
That-
and they're everywhere. This is like it's just for them. It's more easy. It's easier to go and steal it from somebody else than it is to actually.
But see, that's
do
the whole
this
thing.
stuff.
You can't take their gear. All you get is their scrap.
Right.
And you don't have any clue what they're actually holding.
Right.
So it's really actually pointless to kill other players unless they're in your base messing with stuff.
Right.
It's like if they're just passing through, leave them alone.
But you know,
It's
people,
so stupid.
and apparently they have that in that thing too. So it's where they're talking about like just random people like coming across, but they've instituted a proto reputation thing to where if you find somebody who's been like killing you or indiscriminately and doing whatever, you can actually tag them with a symbol or whatever, like these guys are, if this symbol you interact
Kind of like
with them,
76's
it's
bounty
a smiley
system.
face or whatever. You can say, hey, this person is helped me out, or like
Right.
hasn't.
Friendly designation.
Yeah, and then these people are not. And you can see that through like binoculars. So if you see somebody coming, you can pop it up, and like the thing will literally be in there. And you can see.
Are they a griefer? Or are they a helper? Stuff like that. No, that's kind
like,
of cool.
is this rando, or is this somebody who's going to cause me problems?
Right.
And I mean, so and literally said in the article, if you are one of those, it really doesn't change your world. I mean, you're still going to go out and do and murder and do whatever you want to do. But if you're one of those that like to like team up and like do other cool things and like, that type of stuff, it actually would show you like, hey, these people are not going out and causing problems, and this is somebody you can actually team up with to like defend yourselves from these people, or build a base or do whatever.
Right. That's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, it's on my list. It's in my shop. So
yeah,
I'm just waiting for the developer sale at the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on
or the Steam sale, the summer sale at the end of the month. Yeah.
So,
the developer sale is over. They're in the They're in like this weird community sale thing right now, and then end of the month they'll have the actual Steam sale.
Right. And
summer sale.
Start of a new month.
Yeah. Man, I want to go play games.
Hey, I hope you like this clip from Geek Public Radio. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, ring the little bell so you know when we post more stuff. If you want more content from Geek Public Radio, check out geekpublicradio.com. There you'll find articles and reviews and all sorts of fun stuff, as well as a member section if you wish to help contribute a little to our doing more stuff. In the members only section, you'll find members only content that we create after the shows. You can find movies, you can find con stuff, all sorts of stuff right there. I think in the neighborhood of like we're about 120 some different film, like between films and shows and all the other stuff that we have back there right now, and more coming. So if you want to become a member, help us make more movies, make more stuff, make more content for you to partake in. But like I said, if you like the clip, like, subscribe, ring the bell.